So the next question, read. So read loudly, I can't hear. The rich oppressed the poor, yes, during the time of Prophet Amos. Read the next question. The next one. Okay, thank you. So we read the one that you read, question 4b. Yes, how the rich oppressed the poor during the time of Prophet Amos. So the poor was sold for a piece of silver, or you can say the poor was sold for a pair of sandals. The rich grabbed land belonging to the poor. The merchants used false scales, or the merchants used faulty weighing scales. The rich sold goods that were unfit for human consumption to the poor. The rich sold goods that were unfit for the human consumption to the poor. Poor people were paid unfair wages, or you can say poor people were underpaid for the labor provided to the rich. They were underpaid, or you can say they were paid unfair wage. The poor were sold to slavery for being unable to pay the debts. They were sold to slavery. They were charged high interest rates for the banked money. So the poor were charged high interest rate for the banked money. The poor were denied justice in the law courts. And they were denied justice in the law courts due to the bribing of the judges by the rich. Or you can just say the cases of the poor are thrown out of courts. The poor were persecuted, or they were oppressed when they challenged the injustices that they were persecuted when they challenged the injustices, or they were oppressed when they challenged the injustices done. The rich failed to return the garments taken as pledge. The rich failed to return the garments taken as pledge, or they used the garments as bedding in the temple. So the rich failed to return the garments in the temple. Wives of the rich pressurized their husband to exploit the poor to meet their luxurious lifestyles. Wives of the rich pressurized their husbands to exploit the poor to meet their luxurious lifestyles. Read the next question, Celestine.
Give 5 ways through which the Christians in Kenya can avoid God's punishment today.
So, ways through which Christians in Kenya can avoid God's punishment today. Yes? By obeying His commandments or obeying instructions. You can obey His commands. By reading and practicing the Word of God, or you can say by putting into practice the Word of God. By leading exemplary lives. That is the same point as being a role model. By taking care of the less fortunate. That is the same point as by carrying out charitable activities. By taking care of God's creation. By praying. The same point as by fasting. Seeking spiritual guidance. Seeking spiritual guidance, or you can say through guidance and counseling, spiritually. Preaching the word of God. So read question 5a. Victoria. Yes, the content of the Jeremiah's letter to the exiles in Babylon. Prophet Jeremiah encouraged the exiles to build houses or stroke settle down. So he encouraged the exiles to build houses, or he encouraged them to settle down. He told them to plant gardens, or you can say he told them to eat their produce. That is point number 2. He told them to marry, have children so as to increase in number. So you can say to marry or to have children so that they can increase in number. He also advised them to live in peace in Babylon. And also, or you can say he told them to pray for the welfare of others. So he advised them to live in peace in Babylon. He warned them not to listen to the false prophets who lied to them. Remember, these false prophets were giving them false hope. He told them that God would restore them to the land after 70 years. He told them that God would restore them to the land after 70 years. He encouraged them to trust in God. That is, he encouraged them that God would answer their prayers. The same point. The last point is that he told them that God had good plans for them. Question 5b, Felicia.
Give 7 reasons why Prophet Jeremiah condemns the practice of human sacrifice in Judah.
Yes, so reasons why Prophet Jeremiah condemned the practice of human sacrifice in Judah. Number 1, the shedding of blood defiled the land given to the Israelites by God. So the blood defiled the land that was given by was given to the Israelites by God. Human sacrifice was an act of idolatry. That is the same point as it was a continuation of what they had adopted from other nations. So human sacrifice was what they had copied from other nations. Number 3, it demonstrated Israelites' disrespect for the sacred of human life. It demonstrated Israelites' disrespect for the sacredness of human life. Human sacrifice showed lack of knowledge of the true nature of Yahweh. Or in basic terms, you can say human sacrifice showed ignorance about Yahweh, to show that they were ignoring about Yahweh. Number 5, it was an act of disobedience, or it was going against the covenant way of life. Or you can just say it was against God's commandments. Remember, after we finish revising these, we'll do an exam from questions from here so that I can know whether you read. Yes. Human sacrifice provoked God's anger. It was an act of oppressing the weak. Or it was an act of oppressing the innocent. It showed lack of faith in God. And also it was against human sacrifices because it would lead to severe punishment. It will lead to punishment of the Israelites. Question 5C. Christine. So ways in which Christians can help reduce? Yes, ways in which Christians can help to reduce human suffering in Kenya today. By establishing medical facilities. You establish medical facilities or you provide medical care. By educating the public on their rights. You educate the public on their rights. By voting out corrupt leaders. Voting out corrupt leaders. Or you exercise your democratic rights. Or Christians, they exercise their democratic rights. By creating job opportunities for the people. Condemning social injustices. By providing relief aid or you provide basic needs to the needy. You provide basic needs to the needy or you provide relief aid, it's just the same point. You advocate for just laws. Or you advocate for fair distribution of what? Resources. By respecting the laws. You respect the laws. You pray for the suffering. You offer guidance and counseling or you offer advice to the suffering. And the last point is by preaching peace and love for one another. Preaching peace and love for one another.